When you look at this white stone temple standing against the skyline, you immediately see the massive scale of its architecture. For over 3 centuries, this exact site has hosted a continuous, unbroken Rath Yatra tradition. This is the Ranchi Jagarnath Mandir in the Durwa neighborhood. Every year during the Ashada month, it draws hundreds of thousands of devotees. People from outside the region often assume it is simply a localized, modern replica of the primary temple in Puri. Because of that assumption, travelers frequently cross it off their list when planning their regional itineraries. We have to look closely at the facts to determine if this location carries its own primary historical weight, or if it is a secondary tribute that you can afford to ignore. If you are traveling with limited vacation days or specific spiritual obligations, you have to be highly selective about where your time goes. To decide if this temple is worth your time, we need to weigh 2 factors: its canonical authenticity against the real logistical effort it takes to get there. This map illustrates the physical gap between the coastal site in Puri and this inland hill in Jharkhand, connecting them through an event in the year 1691. By analyzing what happened that year, we can break down exactly who should make this trip and when they should take it. The historical record starts with Raja Aninath Shadeo of Barkagarh Jagannathpur, the ruler who commissioned the temple in 1691. To understand his devotion, you have to look at his pilgrimage to the ancient seaside infrastructure in Puri. While visiting, the Raja experienced a dream where Lord Jagannath explicitly commanded him to return to his own kingdom and build a dedicated temple. This mandate gives the site its authenticity. It establishes the construction as a direct divine directive, separating it entirely from a standard architectural vanity project. Because of that origin, Lord Jagannath, Balabhadra, and Subhadra are worshipped here with the precise reverence demanded by that original lore. That direct canonical link is why strict devotees classify this as the second most important Jagannath Gam. That history confirms it is not a replica, significantly raising the spiritual stakes for anyone visiting. The physical placement of the site is highly specific. The Raja selected an isolated hill in Durwa. He explicitly renamed this hill Nilachal Parvat, matching the spiritual geography of the Puri temple. Building on an incline creates a scenic, quiet environment, naturally separated from the noise below. That historical isolation stands out sharply today when compared to the dense urban sprawl of modern ranchis spreading out around the base. But the geography introduces a clear logistical trade-off. Reaching the temple means dedicating travel time outside the city center and managing a physical climb. It is entirely impractical for casual drive-by tourism. The hilltop preserves a 17th century atmosphere, but it requires a deliberate investment of your time and physical effort. The most significant operational factor is the temple's Rath Yatra chariot tradition, which has run unbroken for over 3 centuries. During the Ashada month, this is the reality on the ground. The physical scale of the gathering is immense. Moving through hundreds of thousands of people creates massive bottlenecks. You have to arrive with a very high tolerance for noise and significant delays. Let's map this. We measure historical payoff on the vertical axis against logistical friction on the horizontal. The Ashada Yatra lands in the top right, peak immersion, massive logistical cost. An off-season visit lands top left, high historical access but significantly lower effort. The festival month delivers the maximum authentic immersion, while an off-season trip offers the most efficient way to study the site's history. Let's apply this data to figure out if your specific travel style matches the site. We can evaluate the value across 3 specific traveler profiles: the devotee, the history buff, and the casual tourist. For the time-poor devotee, this is a perfect match. If traveling to Puri is out of reach, the 1691 canonical origin makes Ranchi a premier, mandatory stop. For the history and heritage optimizer, the historical value is high, but the timing is highly sensitive. To effectively inspect the 17th century architecture, you must avoid the Ashahara month. The off-season is the only practical time for a detailed visit. For the casual tourist, the site yields a much lower return on your time. Without a vested interest in the lore, committing half a day to the Durwa Hill pulls you away from Ranchi's accessible nature reserves, which are likely a better fit for a general itinerary. The Ranchi Jagannath Mandir is a highly accessible, historically validated spiritual anchor in its own right. You trade the monumental scale of the ancient coast for a highly pedigreed experience on a quiet inland hill. Look at your own threshold for crowds, weigh it against your desire to step into an unbroken 300-year-old tradition, and schedule your time accordingly.